I want to ask you, and a lot of people want to know that are in the VeVe community, what you think about VeVe as an NFT platform. Because I know you're a big NFT collector. You've had your channel for like 3 or 4 years now. You're big
Yeah.
on the play to earn games and a lot of the different NFT platforms. So whenever you're looking at all of the platforms from kind of an outside perspective, how do you see VeVe, and what do you think about the future of this platform?
First off, I got to give a shout out to Dave Nelson there. He says, thanks for hating on BB in July of
Oh
2021. That's how
no.
I found out about it. Yeah, I mean, at this point, I love what BB's doing. There was a point when they first came out where I was skeptical because of the way that they built the app, the way that they weren't actually NFTs. They weren't, you couldn't pull things on the platform. They weren't connected to what I would consider was a legit blockchain. There were a lot of issues that I had with it. And I said, the concept is good, but these things need to be addressed before it's something I would consider jumping in.
Yeah,
And
that
they
makes
addressed them.
that
And
makes
then I
plenty of
jumped
sense.
in.
Yeah, absolutely. And that
So I've been a collector since almost the beginning, man. I mean, I wouldn't say like first, but pretty early on, man. Pretty early on.
so what kind of stuff do you still have in your account now?
I don't have a ton of shit, but I have my sweet ass DeLorean, which
Yes.
is it's not the low one. It's the next tier up, the one that's like a little bit bigger.
Yep.
I also have a hoverboard. I'm a big Back to the Future fan,
Same here.
so that was like one that was like, yeah, I gotta get this. And I've tried to get the Star Wars, like I've tried to get multiple like the Star Wars Golden Moment drop. I missed that one. I missed a bunch of Golden Moments, man. I've had like shit luck really trying to get a lot of drops, and so there was a point where I was like, you know what, this thing's being botted, and I'm just not gonna, I'm wasting my time trying to do it myself and like not using tools. And I was like, you know what, I kind of stepped back for a little while, and I was like, it's cool. And I mean, I still have gems sitting in there, and
Oh, nice.
ready to buy. And like I said, today would have been a good opportunity. I just didn't, I just didn't get it.
Yeah, a lot of people felt the same way as you around the after they released those first Disney Go to moments and all the bots showed up, and it was really really hard
Yeah.
to get the drops, and it kind of turned a lot of people off of the app. Same thing as you said, but like you said, you're still interested. You're still keeping your eye on it. They're still dropping Disney stuff, and I know that you did a couple videos and a couple tweets about Disney's plans for the metaverse. Where do you think Disney's going with their metaverse, and do you think it's going to include the VV NFTs?
That's a great question, actually. Disney likes to play it close, man. They're very particular about, who they license out to, how they license. They're very particular about, going after their trademarks if someone's infringing on that, doesn't necessarily have their permission
True.
to do it. Obviously, there's been a great partnership between Disney and VeVe here. There's a lot of IP they can bring. But once again, we gotta look at it for what it is, right? So this is an IP licensing deal. That's essentially what VeVe has here with Disney. And so at any moment, they can just be like, nah, we're pulling our shit.
True.
It's happened. We've already seen it happen in crypto and NFTs. So I don't know if you guys remember F1 racing or whatever, but that was a pretty popular NFT racing game
Yep.
based on Formula One. They had IP. They were licensing the IP from them, and they sold like super high dollar NFTs, like things that were like went for like $100,000. Some of the NFT tracks,
Okay.
and then they were just like, oh, we're pulling our IP, and then boom, done, game done, everything done, NFTs done, and the team is just over here reeling like, what do we do? I don't know, blah blah. They couldn't continue to do, to have the game. Now that won't be as big of an attack vector, I would say, for VeVe, because the stuff they've already put out, they can't like revoke that and say, oh well, we're taking that back. They just wouldn't allow you to do anything further.
Right.
So I mean, obviously, I think VeVe would still be able to easily pivot. But where this brings me around to is the fact that I think Disney is utilizing a lot of these third parties to kind of test the waters with NFTs without having to do it directly and have it directly reflect back on them.
Right.
Smart move, Disney.
Right.
What I think we'll see happen here over the next few years is I think we'll see Disney come out with a full metaverse NFT platform play that ties into everything they've been doing, kind of bringing all their stuff together under one roof into their own kind of metaverse that's kind of, I would assume, be focused a little bit more on younger demographics, but also great for older demographics too.
Yeah.
And that could be a huge game changer, man. And I think that that might be a time when they would pull back some of these IPs they've licensed out to companies that are doing something similar. Would they incorporate VeVe tech in that? I mean, that would be kind of cool. I mean, I think that what VeVe is doing is a cool application for like AR, which I love. But like I said, Disney's one of those companies where they don't mind eating up a bunch of the competition or a bunch of people or absorbing them. So that could mean a buyout for VeVe, or it could just mean them creating a kind of a competing type of product where they roll in what VeVe's doing into the massive thing that they put out. So I mean, yeah. So they already have some pretty cool things I think that they've been doing that Disney puts out that a lot of people don't know about. Someone mentioned some of the like apps and experiences they have for their park.
Yep.
I really love like the Galaxy's Edge app, which is a lot of fun, the data pad one, and so they are definitely going that direction of like more AR overlay app stuff. I'm sure VR will come pretty soon too, but I definitely think that their metaverse play is not they haven't shown us their hand yet in that respect really, but I do think it is coming, and I wouldn't be surprised if they did something similar to what VeVe's doing or incorporated VeVe directly into some of the stuff that they have going on right now.
Yeah, absolutely. I know they're definitely going to be putting a lot of money into it. We all hope that we'll be able to be interoperable with the Disney metaverse and be able to use like our Disney Golden Moments maybe to get access to certain areas of their metaverse. But they also have, of course, Marvel as well, which is part of Disney, and we have lots of Marvel comics on the app. I want to make sure that everybody knows about you. I know not everybody knows who Cryptostache is, surprisingly, so I'm going to link your YouTube channel in the chat. It's also linked in the description. Make sure you guys are subscribed to Cryptostache. He's been doing this for a long time.
The weird thing about it is, during a time like this in a bear market where people should be engaging even more and looking at what they should be buying and stuff like that, people leave. It's not exciting. Prices are down. They don't want to be here, which is the exact opposite of what they should be doing if they actually want to make money.
Yeah, it's
But
like
then they only come back in the bull market when prices are skyrocketing, and they're like, "Is now the time to get in? Like, what about NFTs?" And like, man, you should have been buying this shit on the dip,
Yep.
but you weren't. And so it's kind of weird how that cycle kind of goes. But yeah, definitely cycle. And I think NFTs, that's one of the use cases that really solves a large problem in gaming, is the extraction of value that these companies have that you can never get back. Right, you can never get that back. And like VeVe in general, like they allow you to be able to sell and do things like that. If they said, hey, you can never sell your shit, I mean, would we have as many people here? Would this many people be watching? Would there be this many people on the app?
Probably not.
Not at all, man. No one would give a shit about VeVe.
Yeah,
That's simple.
absolutely.
They wouldn't care.
Makes sense.
So that ability is important, right? And having an NFT that you can prove that it was yours, that you could sell it, that it's not counterfeit, which is also a big thing in games and in apps and things like this. People can easily hack, the code, and we've seen it time and time again. It happens all the time. But if it's an NFT and you can prove that it is your NFT and you can show that data, that's a big thing.
Absolutely.
So I mean, every PFP is not going to make it for sure.
Yeah.
99% of PFP projects will not make it. But but the thought of what a PFP is and how it can be applied in gaming or in metaverses or other across multiple platforms, where maybe you could use it in different apps where you have a PFP that you can use in VeVe, and then it's also usable in other places too, wherever you want to be hanging out. I think there is some merit to that, but once again, interoperability I think is the key here, and we don't have that right now. So that's a pretty big gap that I think is missing when it comes to PFPs. Now that versus I think there's volatility in both, right? So the volatility with PFPs is that it's just bloated. It was so easy to do, and most of them are not going to make it. But there is some long-term viability there in some of these PFPs, in particular some of the blue chip ones too. But when it comes to like licensed IP, like I said, my biggest fear is always like, well, what happens when the license runs out? Because I can guarantee you're right. We don't know what the license is between VeVe and Disney. We don't know. They haven't disclosed it, right? I don't think that's out there. They haven't said, oh yeah, here's our contract. Shit, you guys can see everything that we do. I love transparency. I love to see that kind of shit, especially if I'm going to be an investor long term. I guess you guys don't think that's a big issue, but I mean, those are the types of things I would want to know, especially when I've seen the fact that an IP can be revoked, and then your NFTs may be kind of like, there's no lifeboat. They're just sitting out there in the water. Now, I mean, I don't know that that's going to happen here with Disney and VeVe. Obviously, all speculation. That's what we're doing here. This is speculation. I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely.
But the fact of the matter is that with these contracts, they're not a lifetime contract, are they? Ever?
Nope.
That's all I have to say. That I can tell you for sure. That I know 100% is it's not a lifetime contract. So there will be a time where they're going to have to renegotiate that, or it's going to be up, and we don't know what's going to happen then. And that's with any licensed IP. It doesn't matter if you're making freaking T-shirts or pinatas out of Spider-Man. whatever it may be, if you have to license the IP, there is a chance that they will pull that IP back from you and say, I'm sorry, we don't want you to do it anymore. There's less of a chance with something so benign like a t-shirt, but an emerging technology like what VeVe's doing or what we're seeing in blockchain, yeah, I can definitely see it happening more often because these IPs will say, hey, you know what? Well, we had this deal with them for 5 years, and now that it's up, we really want to bring it on into our own stuff and incorporate it our own thing.
Sure.
And so, we're not going to renew that because we want to incorporate that ourselves.
Yeah.
I definitely see that happening with IPs and some of these things. Especially if they're not making enough money off of it. They think, oh man, maybe we negotiated this deal too soon, too early. We didn't realize the potential at the time. We screwed up. Now we're the greed is going to take over, and that greed can be strong.
It's
for
probably
a lot of
a short
companies,
contract with it being an emerging technology. It makes sense that they would have a short contract to test the genre and see how it does. And to address some people in the chat, now we're not saying, or he's not saying that if Disney did pull out that you would lose your NFTs. We already
No,
had
not at all.
Chaosium.
No.
Chaosium decided they didn't want to make any more NFTs on VeVe, but we still have our Chaosium NFTs. They're still on there. You still own them, and
Yeah,
they
of
still
course.
have value. So, yeah, I mean,
Yeah, and that's what I was saying. Kind of the contrast between using an IP to build an entire thing off of,
right.
right? Like that's a huge thing. If it was like the Disney app or like the Disney VeVe app, and it was all Disney stuff, and it was that's the only thing you had, then that would be an issue because then you're reliant on Disney as an IP, like Formula One. Formula One drift game was reliant on Formula One. Without that, man, you don't have a game.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I think that that yeah, you're not going to lose whatever you have now. There just wouldn't be any future ones, which maybe that makes those NFTs more rare.